the sounds of the city. And I know I give you this little lecture every time now, but I want to see you, someone, at least one of you, do an urban landscape within the next few months, either this summer or this fall. Okay, I'm making this a challenge, and this is going to inspire you. Not this. This is like the comedic introduction to the talk. Can you see this one, the cartoony one I'm showing?
Yes,
Mhm.
Yeah.
yes.
So it's just to get us started for fun. And but I have always liked urban landscape painting, although it's not really what I do a lot of. But I'm going to show you some that go back a few centuries and then some very contemporary ones. So let's get going. And this is probably, everyone has seen this, right?
It's in the Masterpiece Art game.
Yeah, it's well known. Does anyone know the artist's name?
No.
Gustave Caillebout.
Calibo.
Caillebout, yeah. 1877 is called Paris Street Rainy Day. Now, normally I like to show you paintings that you haven't seen a million times, but in this case, I thought this would be a good one to start with. What's one thing he does here that seems somewhat radical and dramatic?
He has the pole right smack dab in the middle of the painting.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Divide.
Also, that building behind him, it's so strange the way that curves back.
All the sharp angles at the skyline.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a dramatic composition, and it's just it really is a wonderful painting. And unfortunately, he's a great painter, and we don't get to see a lot of his other work, but you might want to look him up sometime, the Caillebout. And let's move on. So, going back now to the Vermeer, he lived in Delft and he painted the street scene there a couple times at least. And I think everyone also has seen this painting. Vermeer influenced me so much, mostly because of the geometry of his composition. And he just seemed, for an artist, this was painted in, I don't have a date for this one, but he was what, 16th, 17th century painter in the Netherlands. And he had a oddly modern sensibility about shape and pattern on the surface of a painting.
Mm-hmm.
And it just intrigues me still. So studying the arrangement of the rectangles, mostly rectangles throughout, is very intricate and rich and complex. Yet it's a highly realistic painting of a rather ordinary street scene where he lived.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I like the clouds, Charles. I've been working on clouds. Look
Yeah.
how subtle his are.
Very subtle, yeah.
Well, and I like all the verticals. I mean, if you look at the building on the right and then that arch, and there's a lot of verticals, and then at the bottom there's horizontals.
Yeah, all the
Yeah.
rectangles.
Yeah, he's very skillfully playing off horizontal, vertical, and some curves and some organic shapes. Now, this is an artist. There are a lot here that artists I've never heard of, but that's the great thing about Instagram. You discover all these new artists. And this is from 1916 called Boats in a Gracht, which I think it just means canal, by Adolf Kaufmann. And I chose it. It is urban because it's a city. The canals generally go through cities, and the buildings are very close together. And it has that dense feeling of urban life and the chimneys and smokestacks, but their roads were canals in this case. And all of that aside, I just was really struck by it as a very beautiful painting. I never heard of this guy before.
Mm-hmm.
And a part of it, he's taking this complementary red and green and just playing around with them against each other
Mm-hmm.
throughout the painting.
It reminds me of Amsterdam.
Yeah, I didn't study it. I didn't do a lot of reading on this one, so I don't know what city it's in. has a German name, but I just don't know. Okay, jumping up now to 1911, this guy has become one of my favorite painters. I've known about him, but because of Instagram, I see him a lot now. August Macke from 1911, German expressionist painter called St. Mary's with Houses and Chimney. And it's urban, and it's just a good example of what you could do with the shapes and the colors that you find in an urban environment compared to like a landscape. You get a lot more of that to work with than you do in the woods.
Right.
And look what he does with it. He takes a lot of liberties. I'm sure that those colors are not literal, but he takes a lot of liberties, and then he gives us in the foreground, he gives us on the lower left that that scalloped roof line, like the shingles on a building. I thought was
Right.
very clever. And it's just, again, abstractly, it's just a beautiful painting to study, just similar to the Vermeer, really. in that
Yes.
way.
Charles, I forgot what that German expressionist means.
Well, it was a movement in painting in the early part of the 20th century where not only in Germany, but in Europe, a lot of artists were just breaking further away from traditional realistic painting and putting more of an emphasis on expressionism. And this is another artist I know nothing about, but I came across this Bella Conrad from 1933. It's quite abstract, but we do see the buildings and a feeling of being in a city. And again, taking a lot of liberty with the architecture. Beautiful color harmony, though.
Mm-hmm.
The colors sort of remind me of one of Betsy's paintings that she did in watercolor from her recent trip to Europe.
Okay.
I think it's maybe the colors of those buildings.
Yeah. Another artist I discovered, who is this? Artur Nicodem from 1925. It looks like I don't know, a European painter from 1925. And I just was struck with the color and the surface, how the surface brought into play, the brushstrokes, and the arrangement and the simplicity of their composition and a few figures in it. And I just like it for what it is.
That's interesting.
Is that the sunlight so bright on that one side of the building?
Well, we don't really
Sounded-
know that. It could be. It could be just the liberty that he took for the sake of the painting.
Yeah. It's interesting. That's smack dab in the middle too, the painting.
I love this little painting by Clarice Beckett from 1930. I don't know anything about it. It's called Evening St. Kilda Road. I have a feeling it's in London.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool painting.
Soft, very soft.
Soft, atmospheric. It's the city. I don't know if it is London, but it looks like a big city. 1930 automobiles. And just capturing that feeling of dusk when the street lights come on. And
It
the
almost
city
looks like it's almost wet, almost like it's
it does look wet. That's a good
heavy
point.
dew or something floating around.
Yeah, absolutely. And Camille Pissarro was one of the major impressionists that we don't get to see him quite as much as the others, but he was really a great painter. The Boulevard Montmartre at night.
Mhm.
Now,
Oh, this was done back in the 1800s.
yeah, 1897.
It almost looks like a more modern street.
Well, yeah, but they were, Montmartre is Paris, so they had street lights, they had some
Yeah.
cars
Yeah.
at the time. And now, okay, I want you to do an urban painting. If you want extra credit, do an urban painting at night.
Ooh.
in Paris.
Well, I like the
Whoa.
reflections and the light, both.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, beautiful.
It's pretty stunning. Now here's another one you've probably seen before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I've seen
actually
that.
did two. Child Hassam did two of these. I kind of like this one better from 1950, the 4th of July. Pretty sure it's New York City, but Child Hassam was a great American painter that is under-recognized. That I've become more familiar with. It does have an urban feel. You don't see a lot of the buildings and the street scene, but it definitely is urban. And this is a very different mood in this painting by Alice Bailey Hinterhoff. Don't know anything about her, don't know where it is, but I was just really struck by the rawness of it, the energy, and the way it's painted, and how that is it's consistent with the energy of being in a city, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And, it doesn't mean you have to paint a city that way, but
Looks kind of polluted.
it does. It has a dingy look and feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a couple more contemporary ones. From 1981, this artist, I won't even attempt to pronounce it, European artist. It's an urban scene, and he introduces, assuming that Gustav, yeah, he introduces something about the human life and activity in the city. I don't know what he's trying to say, but he gives us a glimpse, like almost like we're looking into the buildings, which we are in some places.
Right, right. It's like a cross section you see inside the rooms.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So taking liberties with the space, and it's kind of an intriguing painting.
Mm-hmm.
But not all the rooms, just some of them. So that makes it
just-
even more interesting.
Yeah, just a peek. You're-
And now getting into some of a lot of the photorealists were really attracted to urban scenes, buildings in particular. And this one is an artist named Lindsay Kustouche. Just a little dilapidated restaurant in the middle of who knows where. So it's not
Mhm.
really urban, but it's sort of a modern urban building, I would say.
Mhm.
Well, I don't want that one hanging up in my house.
No.
No.
Reminds me of White Castle.
It does, yeah. It looks like that.
A little bit.
Yeah. All right, and some others now. This one is maybe more appealing, but maybe not, because it's a really coarse industrial scene, a factory scene,
Yeah.
by this artist Craig McPherson. I think it's an extraordinary painting. It's winter. It's
Mhm.
like, especially like when you drive down river. I think you've probably done that at some point, and you see
Mm.
Yeah, the Rouge
Right.
plant. Yeah.
the Rouge plant in particular. Smoke coming up, and those fire stacks that have flames coming out of them, the chimneys that have flames, and the construction going on. And it's definitely, it's not housing, but it is an urban landscape.
Yeah.
I find the flames the most interesting, but what's going on in the foreground? I can't quite figure it out.
It looks like coal. There's like raw materials to fire up
Oh.
the plants.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, we don't know, but it just, the atmosphere of the painting is, to me, just like, just get absorbed in it.
Right. It captures the mood of a heavy industrial site.
It does, yeah. And it's often, it smells bad in places like that, and
Oh yeah.
people live. My family, my parents lived around the Rouge plant. My dad worked there his
dear.
whole life.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I worked there a couple summers when I was in college, and the whole Dearborn community around it's very, and still very fascinating to me.
Mm-hmm.
What
think it
city
would
was
be
he
scary.
depicting here?
It's what?
What city was he depicting here?
I don't know. I did not get any details on it.
Yeah, okay.
But a lot of Romanians living in Dearborn working at the Rouge plant, by the way.
Mm.
I
Um,
think it would be scary to park your car and go into work at such a noisy, huge place.
well, I'll tell you, it always reminded me of a Hieronymus Bosch painting at night. Um,
Oh, yeah. It's a different world.
yeah, I was very intimidated at first, but I'm really glad I had the experience. So here's another one, like calmer, maybe, and easier to look at, but still urban with the street, railroad crossing and the lamp post and the older building. Photorealist, I would say. And we have this subject matter everywhere.
Mm.
We don't have to go far to find, even in Rochester, an urban setting to find inspiration from. Now this one, Mark Trujillo, it's Spanish name Trujillo. I don't like it. Probably because it reminds me of, I think you remember when I had to do a portrait of that McDonald's in Romeo.
At first, Charles, I thought this might be your portrait, and I was rather shocked with the clouds. And then I noticed it said Wendy's. So
It's
It's a very big Wendy's restaurant,
what?
very large. It's a
It-
very
it's-
large Wendy's restaurant.
Oh yeah, well, it's it's artists can paint we paint the world we live in, right? There are a lot of ways to do that and think about it. It could be an internal world that we live in, but it can just be the ordinary fast food restaurants, strip malls, like this. It's not really my thing to want to paint, but nothing wrong with it. And it's
Mm.
worth trying it at least once. I'm going to show you some more of these, like this Queensboro Bridge by Andreas Oros from 2001.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty stunning. I don't know much about this artist or painter. Now, isn't the Queensboro Bridge in New York City? I meant to look it up.
I don't know, but I hope he didn't paint it plein air.
Oh,
Oh,
you may well have. But why, if you look at the top of the painting towards the right, there's like a sky rail. You see that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That wouldn't be New York.
No, unless it was just added. So it still it looks like New York City to me in the bridge, but I'll find out later. So it is again, what does he do that's odd about the composition?
Well, you got the rail like almost dead center of the composition.
Yeah, he cuts it in.
Cuts it in half.
One
And then
side on the left is very close, the other takes us way back into space.
after he cut it in half, he's got that highway scene and then the park. It's like such a contrast.
Yeah, there is a little park in there, that's true.
And the way big cities are.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's busy. You could feel it. It's busy. The sky trails for all the jets are busy. The crane,
It's
there's
sort of
people going on
similar
the
to parts
crane.
of Chicago.
It what? What'd you say?
It has similarity to a lot of areas in Chicago, and it looks like the main city might be even larger than Chicago.
Yeah. It looks like a lot of big cities, but the sky rail is a whole different
Right.
thing. But I want you to compare it to this one. I've talked about this artist, Rackstraw Downs. Do you remember me talking about him?
Oh, yes.
Okay, an English painter living in New York, and he's known for doing these rather large urban paintings, often similar to this. An underpass. He's not focusing on what's beautiful about the city. He's focusing on the real rawness and the grit of the city. And he does paint these plein air.
Ugh.
It's
They're
funny.
bad.
It's funny that he kind of pokes fun at the McDonald's, the Golden Arches, and then we have the industrial Golden Arches holding up the expressway. I think that's
Yeah,
pretty
that's a
funny.
good, yeah, I like
Oh,
that.
neat. I never thought of that.
Um, yeah, so I think it takes him like up to a year to do one of these. And he's represented by the Forum Gallery in New York, which is a big name gallery for this kind of painting, and he gets big money for them.
Mhm.
What's his name again?
Rackstraw Downs.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, moving on. I like this painting. I never heard of the artist, Andrew Lanahan. But what I read is that he did a series of paintings like this just from the view out of his bedroom window on the second floor.
Oh wow,
Hmm.
yeah. The
And it has a
neighborhood.
nice mood. Freshly fallen snow. But it is a good example. When I say urban landscape, it doesn't really have to be the downtown city. It can be the suburban city. It could be also a back view of buildings.
Well, this shows what I often say about snow. It's the great equalizer. Everyone's lawn is identical. The same
Does-
amount of snow on everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it pulls the composition together.
Yes.
But that's just what it looks like. And we get up in the morning after a heavy snowfall, we look out and we see the chairs all covered in snow, and
Mhm.
even the construction area on the right's covered. I think it's a remarkable painting.
Mhm.
I left this one in. I don't really like it, but it's a photorealist painting looking at, again, the back view of some buildings. So I'm not generally a fan of photorealism, but he does get us to look at what looks like a wall. I thought it was a train cars at first, but I think it's just a wall behind these suburban houses where there's graffiti on them.
Right.
Hmm.
Interesting use of color here too.
Yeah.
I
I'm liking-
saw I saw areas like that in Los Angeles when I was on a bird trip in downtown LA. And
Okay.
it was just remarkable how nature broke through in these places that had huge amounts of building.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's growing on me. I'm liking it more now. So here's one by an artist, George Shaw. Again, more of an aerial view. And this is interesting that he used this device of scraping the painting in areas to create interest, and he does it mostly around the perimeter of the painting.
It's a very, very bad idea.
Yeah, I don't really like it either, but
Looks like he left the tape all the way around the edge
it
of the-
does, yeah. And but it does function as a frame a little bit.
Yeah. Mhm.
I do like scraping, dragging paint to create surface interest, but it's just a little too much of it here.
And
Um,
I thought he framed it and the frame got stuck to the painting when he was trying to take it off.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I'll have to talk to him about that when I meet him someday.
There you go.
Maybe that's what happened. And he let it go.
Now here's another one of these great aerial panoramas of New York by Andrew Haynes.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say about it. I do like it. I'm not always crazy about these kind of paintings, but the earth colors, the complexity, the atmosphere.
It looks like it would take your entire lifetime to paint that.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. Imagine this being on a huge wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It just kind of
amazing.
shows the rawness of the city.
Yeah, right.
Some parts of it are kind of like a new building put up, and 2 doors down is an old dilapidated building.
Yeah,
And it's got areas where they're building and areas that are being torn down simultaneously.
The smog and fog kind of adds to the atmosphere.
absolutely. Yeah. Now, who could tell me where in Rochester you could get an aerial view of the city?
Probably at one of those buildings by the bridge. Haven't
Yeah.
they got some sort of tall buildings by
Tall
the bridge?
building.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I wasn't thinking of that, but you're right. You could probably go on some of the rooftops and get a bit of an aerial view. But in Bloomer Park, if you go to the top of those stairs where they have that stone
Hmm,
lodge-like building,
yeah,
you can look over the city, but not in the summer. You have to do it after the leaves have fallen.
I was gonna say the leaves are a problem.
Mhm.
When I was in North Carolina, one of my instructors was real excited about doing these urban scenes in watercolor.
Hmm.
And because he'd done so many of them, it went faster than I thought.
Mhm.
But still, you have to be so careful with your perspective
Mhm.
and with your edges on the corners.
Right.
It didn't look like fun to me.
Well,
you know, this could also be something where you're downtown in Detroit here and you're one of those tall buildings and you're looking down Woodward Avenue or something.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
almost looks like it could be that.
Yeah, it sure does. I used to work in the book building in downtown Detroit at the 32nd floor,
Mm.
and we had this kind of view going on there.
In
Okay,
a way, Charles, in a way, these kind of remind me on a real small scale of that little drawing that I did of Traverse City.
oh yeah, it does, you're right.
Yeah, it's has some similarities. Obviously, mine aren't quite as detailed as what they have in these paintings, but
Oh, you're
it's kind
right.
of a neat little drawing.
I remember that, Chad. Another one, Antonio Lopez Garcia, very what's the word? Obsessive.
I know this guy.
You do. I heard, yeah, I know him too. His other work, yeah. More, doesn't he do a lot of figure painting?
I know him from in Spain. He was very famous then because sometimes he would go in a city and would choose some area downtown, and the city would provide for him a place to paint, and they would kind of, set up a space for him, maybe a raised podium, and they would kind of fence him in, and because he would take months to paint a painting. So
Yeah.
You could see him paint, but he was supported by the city.
Interesting.
Yeah, nice.
Mhm.
Well, if it was me, I'd put a lot more fog in. I would get tired of doing those buildings. Wow.
Heavy fog, heavy fog.
Yeah.
Okay, just a couple more here. This is, oops, what happened to? I missed one, but anyway, I think I mentioned that I'm going to show you a couple of mine that I know most of you have seen before.
I know, but I love it, but especially the bicycle.
Mhm.
Weren't we
Yeah.
having this
Yep.
conversation about painting bicycles? They are so complex.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this picture reminds me a little bit of Hopper
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
with the tree, the way Hopper would do the tree and the buildings.
Yeah, it's an example of an urban landscape right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great painting. I really like it.
So we've got what we need to do, to do an urban landscape right in front of us. And I did two of them. I'm sure you remember.
Did you take these to the buildings and show them to them?
No.
I think you should. They might really want to buy them.
Well, what makes you think I want to sell them?
I like your answer.
That's true too. But
That's true.
I did a painting of a cellar door from Romeo. And the lady wanted to see the painting when I was done, even though she didn't commission me or anything. And then I told her I wanted to use it for art shows, and she wants to know what's going to happen to the painting. So they would probably like to know what's going to happen to the paintings.
Well, as someone, my niece was here when she brought me some food when right after I had my incident, and she looked at one of the paintings on my easel and said, "Who is that for?" And I said, "It's for the world."
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I do want to say though, I didn't, I just went out and got these going, and I wasn't thinking ahead a lot, but they're small, they're at 8x10, and I would not, if I was doing it again, I would not use a course. I would either use a panel or I would gesso the canvas a lot more so that the weave of the canvas isn't so prominent.
Or
Something-
linen. Would you do it on linen?
or linen, but even that I would make sure it's smoother.
Yeah.
Okay,
Are these plein air?
no, they're from photographs that are recomposed. I had to take all the cars out,
Yes, that's fair.
notice, and
There's a lot of those.
I did a lot of work in Photoshop before I rearranged the buildings. Like, these are not really in this order. The girl was added separately on the bicycle. I added the balloons. So a lot of liberties taken.
Mhm.
And the tree and the other things that are just added. So
Actually, I was thinking of that tree. I thought, I don't remember a tree being there. Well, maybe he saw a tree. Well, that's fine because you're the artist.
Yeah.
And you get to make the picture be like you think it should be.
absolutely, absolutely. So I want you to do this. Honestly, I'm challenging you to do, as I said, by the end of the year, an urban landscape where you paint the building. If you don't want to paint the building, you can always paint on the building.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh.
Okay,
Great.
thanks.
Good job.